Alright, everyone, welcome back to Touchline Vision. I'm going to be predicting match 74, featuring Germany and Paraguay. So basically, Germany were the group winners, Group E winners. They defeated Curacao 7-1, beat Ivory Coast 2-1. Bit of luck involved because Ivory Coast were actually the ones that should have taken their chance in the winner, but they didn't. So Germany won two matches in a row. And surprisingly, Ecuador beat them in the end to qualify as the best third. It was a very exciting group. 7-6 for one, I think. Um, yeah, I think that's how it ended. Or Ecuador had 1 point. Ecuador had 4 points, and Curacao had like one. If I were to look at the standings again, because it was really uh, dominance between Ivory Coast and Germany in that group, with Ecuador just sneaking in the last second. They weren't in that great of a shape um, until the last second. So 6-6-4-1 was how it ended. So Ivory Coast and Germany were the strong ones. Ecuador, the late sneaking, and Curacao, respectable for a debutant nation. So yeah, they did their best, and Germany were pretty dominant. I mean, Musiala was very good. Uh, a lot of the players that were at Bayern were very good for their country. Musiala was actually one that was great. Nementia was very good. I think he was the one that scored, a very quick goal against Curacao in the opener. They got off to a very, very strong start in the World Cup, and I think they're going to continue that here. And I'll get to Paraguay, but all in all, it doesn't change how Germany is too dominant. Kai Havertz is the one I'm talking about. What he's achieved with Arsenal, scoring key goals. I think he's playing that same role for Germany, scoring big goals for them. Um, we mentioned dementia, but the two that I want to speak about that are really impressive is Nathaniel Brown, the 23-year-old left back who plays for Eintracht Frankfurt. He's getting involved in the goal scoring. Um, and yeah, another one is Undav. Undav is, I think, a late bloomer because he's not that young. He's actually 29. He's right in his prime, and he's starting to, show up. Uh, at the club level for Stuttgart, he's been very good. And in this World Cup, he's got 3 goals and 2 assists. And the thing is, he does not even play full time, full minutes. So it just says a lot about the type of depth that Germany have in this in this tournament. And what's really surprised me was how Woltemade did not play at all. Uh, you know, Woltemade was the most surprising one. In the defense, you got Anton Rudiger, uh, Schlotterbeck involved in the goal scoring, and then Pavlovic and Nemencha are very young CDMs that are offering a lot of support in the attack. And moving to Leroy Sané, 1 goal in the World Cup. He could have been a bit better, but he still is somewhat of the same player he was. 30 years of age, he hasn't lost it. It's just the Florian Wirtz, Musiala, and Havertz that kind of really show how dominant Germany is the most. Florian Wirtz, as much as it hasn't been that great for Liverpool, he's gotten 2 assists so far, and I think Germany are favorites for this match. But before I give like a prediction, I want to move on to Paraguay and how they started off with a disappointing 4-1 loss to the United States. They really didn't show up in that match, and it just hurt to see them lose like this, even if United States were the hosts. I think we could have seen much better start to the tournament. Um, but they were definitely not the most disappointing team in the group. They actually did get it together. Mauricio was the one that really scored the goal. I just think the standouts for Paraguay are Enciso, uh, Alderete in the defense. And these are they have quite a few players that can stand out, and I think that when you look at Germany's history after 2014, when you look at Germany's record in the World Cup, they are prone to upsets happening to them. I don't think it's impossible for Paraguay to do anything, but I'm not going to really place a prediction based off of upsets that easily here. I think if an upset happens, it would be elsewhere in the bracket. Germany should set themselves up to play the winner of France Sweden. That's at least what's expected. And remember, at the end of these are predictions. It might not be fully correct, but it's hard not to rule. It's hard to come and say that Paraguay is going to win it. If I'm going to be assertive, I would say like 3-1 or 4-1 to Germany. 4-2. They're going to win by 1 or 2 goals, and that's assuming Paraguay puts up a very good fight. I'm going to say 2-0 to Germany. But yeah, I mean, I talked about Paraguay's first match. In the second match, they played the even more disappointing team in the group. Because I wouldn't say Paraguay's disappointing. It was very realistic, actually. Uh, the greater expectation was on the Turkish side that took 60-something shots, and none of them went in. Galarraza got him off to an early start, and they did have that controversy where Almiron covered his mouth to say something, and they still couldn't take advantage of that red card. And Ciso once again providing an assist. I think, as expected, this player is actually their best player on the team, playing for Strasbourg. But you know where he started off? He was at Brighton Hove Albion. He's a phenomenal attacking mid winger in some cases. And I think Almiron is going to be back for the match. So I would say 2-1 to Germany. 2-1 Germany makes a lot of sense because after that they basically had a 0-0 draw against Australia. I think 3-1 is better. They didn't really do much aside from the second-minute goal against Turkey and a consolation goal against USA. I'm just looking at the goals scored, and it might be a bit of a biased way to analyze. They didn't produce too much. They took advantage of a underperforming Turkish side. If Turkey were at their best, it would have been 2-1 to Turkey, 4-1 to USA stays as is, and you have only a 0-0 against Australia. So you got 1 point. A bit of luck, and they got 4 points, and they go through, and good for them. But I think their run should come to an end against Germany. I think Germany should win this either 2-1 or 3-1. I'm going to stick with 3-1. And they should progress to the round 16 and play the winner of France Sweden. That is it. I would say that's a very straightforward prediction. I might be wrong. For all the Paraguay supporters, I apologize, but I hope you can prove me wrong, and I hope there's an upset. I just think Germany are in the pole position to advance. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment below what you think. And thank you all for watching.